Radio 418.
What's up, beautiful people? This is John Montagna, and you're listening to Radio 418. Thank you so much for checking in on the podcast again. This is my show where I talk to my fellow musicians about the life in music. And this is another archive episode, bringing the old episodes from the previous feed to the new feed here at radio418.com, powered by Podbean. Gary Lewis of Lewis and The Playboys is my guest on this one. This one dates back to 2013 from the Happy Together tour. This was the year that I started interviewing the principal artists on the tour. I've explained this before, but basically that year, what was it, 2013, I was 41. I had come back from the tour after taking the previous year off, and I had the podcast going, and I wanted to find out what made some of these guys tick. The artists on the tour, you know, these were guys who were, you know, they're legendary musicians, singers, responsible for some of the greatest American popular music. I was 41 in 2013, and I was looking ahead to the next 20 to 30 to 40 years of my own life, trying to figure out what kind of a man I wanted to be. And I was looking at these guys who were in their mid to late 60s, early 70s, some of them, approaching 70. And, you know, you grow up thinking that, like, after 40, that's kind of it. You start to slow down and, you know, you've sort of missed your shot. But these guys were, besides the fact that they sounded great on stage night after night after night, they were total pros who seemed to have tremendous energy on stage. Off stage, I was really fascinated with how these guys were living their lives. They seemed to be enjoying life and living really beautiful lives with dignity and self-respect. They had beautiful families and homes, and they seemed to be enjoying themselves more the second time around, as it were. I know that one guy, I know Mark Lindsay, the voice of Paul Revere and the Raiders, confirmed that to me. After our interview was done, I was packing up and walking out, and he says, "You know, I'm enjoying my career now more than I did back then. Like in the heyday of Paul Revere and the Raiders, he was having more fun doing music in his 60s, right? The second time around." And that fascinated me. So I wanted to find out what made these guys tick. And I went around, asked all of them if they would sit for conversations for the podcast. And they all agreed. They were all gracious and generous with their time. And they opened up to me, being the bass player in the house band. They know who I am. They're going to open up to me more than they would to, you know, the morning drive DJ on the local classic rock station or whatever. And the conversations went really deep and got very candid. And, you know, I treasure these talks. And I'm happy to be sharing them with you again. And Gary Lewis was my first interview. The first of all of these interviews that I was doing. I was kind of still finding my sea legs as an interviewer. But he was very generous with his time, very gracious. I met him and his wife, Donna, in the hotel room on a night off, and we had a great conversation. He opened up about some struggles he's had in his life. If you don't know, Gary's father was Jerry Lewis, the legendary entertainer who passed away recently. Despite being the offspring of one of the most famous men on the planet, Gary has managed to carve out an identity for himself as an artist and as a person, and we got into that for a bit. It's a great talk, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you in just a minute. do I have any business to talk about? We played the show at Daryl's house this past Saturday with the Godfrey Townsend Band that I've been plugging on the last couple of episodes. The Godfrey Townsend Band, of course, Godfrey Townsend on guitar, Steve Murphy on drums, Manny Filcarazzo on keys, your boy here on bass. These are my brothers from the road, going back to the days of the Alan Parsons Live Project, and then the Happy Together tours, the Hippie Fest tours. I love those guys. I love playing with those guys. You don't travel the world and elsewhere with a group of cats for over a decade without getting super tight. And I hadn't seen them in a while. Hadn't played. I don't think the four of us had played together for probably a year. But we saw each other, happy to see everybody, sound checked a bit, had some dinner, hit the stage and handed that crowd their ass for over 2 hours. It was glorious. It was a wonderful show. So great to just catch up with my brothers and fall right back into it like we'd never left. It was awesome, man, and it was a great show, if I do say so myself. Thanks to everybody who came down to darylshouseclub.com. And thanks to the entire staff at Daryl's House, Gary and Pete, all the sound guys. What an amazing venue that is. I was really psyched to be playing there anyway, but everything just runs like clockwork there. They have a great sound system. The room sounds great. And their system, the way they kind of do things over there is just tremendous. So I want to thank the entire staff at Daryl's House for their hospitality and their professionalism. We loved playing there. Hope we get to come back. So much fun. Great show. Did the private event type things Friday night and last night. Also a great band of guys and gals. We crush it every night. A lot of fun. Very thankful and very grateful to be employed. Doing what I love. But I'm a little fried. So, happy Labor Day, everybody. Hope you're having a good holiday weekend. It's fitting that we are rerunning the Gary Lewis episode on Labor Day. His father did those telethons, raising money for muscular dystrophy all those years on Labor Day. So this is the Gary Lewis telethon. R.I.P. Walter Becker, by the way, from Steely Dan. I'm going to be playing some of that music, obviously, over the next couple of days. Rock and Roll Heaven's is getting a little crowded these last couple of years for us who love that music of a certain generation. We need to exalt these artists and appreciate them while they're here. And we need to appreciate the artists of our time as well. This notion that everything good stopped happening in 1990 or something. Not cool, man. So get yourself some Juliette Colmagere. Get yourself some Butterfly Boucher. Get yourself some Gregory Porter. Some Lucy Schwartz. Dig on some of the artists of today as well. Listen to music, folks. Listen to music. Listen to music. Make some time in your life and your day where that's all you do. It's good for you. What else do I need to tell you about? Let's just get right into this conversation. This is Gary Lewis from 2013.
Radio 418.
Hi, how have you been?
It sounds just like you.
Just all right.
So we're sitting with Gary Lewis and The Playboys. How you enjoying the tour so far?
I love this tour.
Yeah.
I had a brief experience with the 1980 '85 Happy Together tour.
That was the first one, right?
That was the second one.
Okay.
First one was '84, and I did it in '85, but nothing was as together as this one. I mean,
Really?
Oh yeah. There were so many people on that tour in '85.
Right.
You know, crew and helpers and this and that,
Interesting.
and set changes because everybody wanted to use their own bands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not like now where it's a
One
tight
band,
thing. Okay.
no changeovers. It goes boom, boom, boom. It's beautiful.
Nice.
It's great.
I know I'm going to get Mark and Howard on the show at some point, and I want to hear like more of the story of how that tour all came together.
Yeah.
I was aware of it, but I didn't go to see it. I was sort of like, oh yeah, the Turtles Happy Together, that's okay. But the Monkees was my thing.
Well, that was a big thing. You saw
Yeah.
them every week or every day. I
Yeah.
don't know how often they were on.
Yeah. But like that was my, the second round of you guys going out on tour again in the '80s was how I was exposed to this stuff.
Right, because you're such a young man.
That's right. I don't. Yeah. For whatever reason, the music of the '60s has always been my thing.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned that, we're actually playing to the same people we played to in the 60s,
Yeah.
except now they're bringing their kids and they are bringing their kids.
Right,
So
right.
60s is getting exposed all the way down to like 10-year-olds,
What do you think it is about that music from that era that it maintains an appeal that spans the generations, whereas like you don't see people bringing their grandchildren to doo-wop shows or to disco revivals, but somehow the pop music of the '60s seems to span the generations. What do you
It
think?
does.
What do you think accounts for that?
I think because there were no heavy messages whatsoever. We sang about life experiences that were usually good.
Right.
Even if it's a breakup song, it was still good.
There was still an optimism to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And there's nothing anger based about 60s music.
Huh.
And you can understand all the words. It tells little stories. And
Right.
people like that. I even got an email from a 7-year-old girl that said, Mr. Lewis, I just love all your songs because
Yeah.
my grandmother sings them to me when I'm going to sleep.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No pressure there.
Oh man, isn't that? I made a new folder on my computer
Yeah.
that says "Young Fans."
Oh my God.
and I put it in there. That happens more than you would think.
Wow.
With very young people.
Well, that's something I'm going to get to at some point. I
Okay.
did quite a bit of research. Born in 1946.
That's wrong, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
sorry.
born in '45.
Oh, okay.
But
Whoops.
but many rock and roll books print '46.
Okay.
I don't know where it came from,
Okay.
but I'm older than you think.
A year older. Okay. Well, all right. So your mom was a singer,
Yes,
big band singer.
she was a big band singer with the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra in the '40s.
Yeah. And with Ted Fiorito.
Ted Fiorito also.
Okay.
My mom sang until she was 9 months pregnant with me. I mean,
Yeah.
8 months. 8 months.
Yeah.
And so after she had me, she quit the business.
Were you the first?
I was the first.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're the oldest of all the siblings.
Right.
Okay.
And so she quit, and my dad, he didn't even know Dean Martin for 2 more years yet.
Uh-huh.
He was just working like busboy jobs at clubs.
He was still doing like miming to records.
Miming
and
to
doing
records.
That bit. Okay.
That-
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For 2 years. And then he met Dean in 47, or he might have met him in 46, but they didn't do anything together until 47.
Right.
And then in 1948, they were going so good that Hal Wallace at Paramount Studios got a hold of him and said, "Come on out to L.A. We got to talk about signing a picture deal."
Uh-huh.
So we all moved from Newark out.
You were living in Newark, New Jersey at
We
this
lived
point.
in Newark, New Jersey,
Oh, wow. Okay.
1945, 6, and 7. And then 48, we moved to Los Angeles. They signed a picture deal, and you know.
Do you have memories of your life before L.A.?
No,
Okay.
no.
It was that early on
Yeah,
that you basically identify as growing up in L.A.
that's correct.
Okay.
I don't. The only thing I remember is a fleeting memory of riding my tricycle down the hallway of the apartment building. That's
Okay.
that's it.
All right. So up until that point, he and your mom are both just out there working, just hustling night after night.
Right. My dad said
Nightclubs, right?
Yeah, his record act, nightclub act. He said that after I was born, he had to work 3 shows to get enough money to get me out of the hospital.
Oh my God.
And me and my mom went home in a cab because he had to go do another one.
Wow.
And I was
Wow.
born at the Beth Israel Hospital in Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it was a different world then. The more I learned about that stuff, getting gigs in nightclubs was like the top thing.
That was.
You know?
It was.
Okay.
And my dad and Dean worked a lot at the 500 Club and the Havana Madrid
Right. And those places were all sort of owned by.
by the Crooked Nose guys.
Okay. Because the legend is that one of these guys said to him and Dean, "You're going to go out there and you're going to entertain for 2 hours or else," and the act was born out of that.
Well, actually, my dad told, I think his name was Skinny Amato.
Okay.
My dad told him, because the singer for the night got sick and he couldn't do it. And my dad says, "Hey, I know a guy
Right.
that can come in and sing. He's really a good singer, and we do a lot of funny bits together."
Uh-huh.
Well,
Which was untrue.
untrue. So after the first show, Dean was singing and everything like that, and they didn't do any bits together. So after that
Right.
first show, Skinny says, so where was the funny stuff?
Right.
I mean, my dad told me this word for word.
Yeah.
So where's the funny stuff? And my dad says, oh, second show, we got it. So my dad ran backstage, got with Dean. They wrote down bits on a cocktail napkin,
Oh my God.
and they were funny. They were very funny.
Right.
And
They both understood like what their roles were.
and it was like they had rehearsed forever. I mean,
Right.
it just happened so perfectly.
Right. Well, they were both like working professionals at that point. They
Yeah.
understood like the context. You sing, I'll be the clown.
Right.
And that's,
and that's
improv.
That's what it was. My dad told Dean, "You be the good-looking guy, I'll be the monkey."
Okay.
That's what he said.
Nice.
So after that, the club was just packed full
Wow.
every single night.
Right. Okay. And you witnessed this upward trajectory of his.
Well, I remember when I was like about 3
Yeah.
that there were no people hanging out with him.
Yeah.
There were no phone calls.
Right.
It was just his record act thing, I guess. And I remember all of a sudden there was a lot of people hanging out.
Ah.
And a lot of people. Jerry, you got to do this. I want you to play at the. Hey, come on!
Action.
A lot of action and excited
Phone
feelings.
phone ringing a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And your mom is home with you.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But I remember all that stuff.
Okay.
How it started. And I mean, I just remember that change.
Okay.
But it didn't have any effect on me. I just thought he was happy all the time.
Okay.
And
Happy because he was finally
doing really good.
doing really well, doing successful. But it was like the two of them, though.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And
Was he the brains behind the operation?
I think so.
I've seen interviews where he said it. We had a perfect arrangement. I set up all the deals. Dean
Right.
played golf.
Dean, right.
Right?
Exactly
Okay.
right. Dean was very happy, not rehearsing,
Sure.
coming onto the
Coming onto
TV
the set
stage
and hitting it. Okay.
and just doing it.
Okay.
And that was the reason for their breakup. My dad wanted to continue doing more and more and more, like writing, producing, editing. He wanted to do everything.
did this put the show business bug in you, witnessing this firsthand?
I thought it did.
Okay.
I thought, because of my dad, that gave me the interest in show business.
Yeah.
But later on, I realized that I was meant to be out there singing and in a band.
Okay.
So my singing definitely did not come from my dad.
Sure.
My mom, the voice of an angel, you know.
Okay.
I even go out and buy old 78 records of Jimmy Dorsey's orchestra with her singing.
So you can find recordings of her?
Right.
What was her name again? I'm sorry, I didn't write it
Patty
down.
Palmer.
Patty Palmer. So she would be billed as Patty Palmer.
Patty Palmer.
Okay.
And at that time, in the 40s, they put the singer's name on the record label, too.
Right. The Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra featuring Patty Palmer.
Right.
Right.
But,
okay.
yeah, that was so cool. So I got my singing from my mom. I know it.
Okay. But the decision to really take it professional was at what point? Like, how old were you?
I was 18.
Okay.
And I was going to a theater arts college in California, Pasadena, California.
Yeah.
It was called the Pasadena Playhouse, you know, and I wanted to go there because even though I had to take regular classes and everything to get your final grade, you were graded on the plays you did.
Uh-huh.
You know, and how you were in those plays.
Sure.
Well, they stuck me with all these Greek tragedies. Othello, Oedipus Rex, stuff like that. And I had to wear leotards and tights on stage.
Okay.
Well, when I came out on stage, everybody there that knew me, all of a sudden the play became a comedy.
Sure. Okay.
You know, so I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I had no idea. All I knew is I didn't like that.
Okay.
And then, you know, at some point, one of my classmates says, "Hey, have you heard this new group called the Beatles?"
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Beatles?" And I remember laughing and I said, "They'll be gone tomorrow."
Nice.
You know, stuff like
Now, what kind of music were you into at this point, though?
Oh, pre-Beatles, like Runaway, Love Potion Number 9,
Okay.
Bobby V music.
All the guys that hate the Beatles now.
Yeah, yeah.
Isley Brothers.
Yeah, all those people. The Orlons.
Okay.
Oh, I loved them.
Pre-British invasion, but post
Right.
doo-wop.
So that's what
Okay.
I was into, yeah.
Okay. And so what was the first Beatles song you heard?
First Beatles song I heard was Love Me Do.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I open my dorm room window and I hear different Beatles songs from all the houses coming out of the windows.
Wow.
And I'm going, my God, it's in the air.
They were ubiquitous.
Oh, man. The Beatles. I said, that's it, man. I mean, because I already knew how to play drums and guitar.
Okay.
Learned drums when I was 5.
Okay.
Started playing, and when I was 16, I started teaching myself guitar.
Okay.
So I said, well, I'm going to form up a band from different classes
Okay.
and see if we can't just play sorority parties and, you know, just that stuff. Actually, when we started playing the college fraternity and sorority parties, all we wanted to do was get chicks and drink beer.
Right.
That was like, whoa, what a reward.
Right. Right.
You know,
That's usually how it starts. That logic
But-
has pretty much remained consistent.
I think it's still that way, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
initially. But
No aspirations yet of like we're gonna have a hit record and we're gonna be rock stars or
no,
that. It was just okay.
no, until May. Well, I formed the band in January of '64.
Okay.
And then by May, we started doing auditions at different places to get like jobs for a week or two. You know, because in LA at that time they had clubs for under 21 people.
Right.
Also, so that's what we were going for.
And they would book you for like weeks at a time.
A week or two at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were
Right.
doing auditions, and then all of a sudden, this inquiry comes in from Disneyland, holding auditions for June, July, and August of '64.
Nice.
We went out there and we auditioned. We got the job.
Nice.
Summertime
Sure.
of '64 at Disneyland. Everything was going just great. We were filling those places.
Now, what kind of what were your hours? And I mean, what kind of gig was that? I mean,
9 to 1,
Okay.
or 8 to midnight.
Okay, and that was like what, a theater, or what was the amphitheater? What
Well,
was the
we
setup?
played at many different places on the property, but we played mostly in the Space Bar.
Okay.
The stage comes up. Gary Lewis and The Playboys, and the stage is coming up, and we're playing, and everybody just goes zoom in right
The young people.
around the stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parents are off having a martini. The kids
Or standing in
go
the
run-
back.
Okay, and the kids run up
And
to
the
you.
kids were just going nuts, and we didn't even have a hit.
Right, but it was like, hey, a live rock and roll band.
Right.
How cool is that?
That's what was happening.
I
So,
see. And what was your repertoire?
everything that was a hit at that time.
Okay. Okay.
Like the tunes I just mentioned.
Got it. Okay. You covering Beatles songs yet?
Oh yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So by that point, they were already.
yeah,
the biggest thing in the-
Summertime of
yeah.
'64, they were huge already.
Yeah. Okay.
So we played like maybe a month, and good word was getting out everywhere. So one night, head of A&R, Snuffy Garrett at Liberty Records,
Yeah.
was out at the park with his family, and he stumbled across us. And after one of our sets, he comes backstage, he hands me his card, and says, I'd like to talk to you about doing some recording.
Wow.
Now, isn't that the way everybody wishes it would happen?
Right. Yeah.
And boom, it just happened.
Right. It's like a movie. Like all the guys in the band are sitting around talking to girls, drinking malteds, and
Yeah.
you're the leader, going like, "Hey guys, I just met a guy in a suit."
Look at that. And that was actually the very beginning.
Now, did you know who Snuff Garrett was at this point?
All I knew is that he was producing Bobby V.
Okay.
That's all I knew.
Sure.
So when I got to know him better, when I got to know Snuffy better, he says, I've got to be in complete control of everything. I said, well, sure. Well, what? I'm 18.
Right.
And then I thought about his track record, He never had any failures.
Right.
In the 50s, he produced Johnny and Dorsey Burnett.
Right.
Then Gene McDaniels.
Right.
And then Bobby V.
Yeah.
And then me. So he was coming off great hits.
Consistent
hits. And I said, sure, go ahead.
And this is back when the A&R guy and the producer are the same guy.
Same guy.
So they know what the market wants.
Right.
They know how to get results in the studio.
And he knew how to pick hit records and when to put them out. He would never put out one of my songs when a new Beatles song came out.
Right.
He said, no, we're waiting about 2 or 3 weeks. Let it go up.
Okay.
Because by the time we're going to go up, they're going to probably be coming down a little bit.
Okay.
But he didn't know that the Beatles always stayed up there for like 98 weeks.
Right.
But it always worked out. Myself and the Beach Boys were the only guys that were able to stay in the top 10 with the whole British thing.
In terms of American rock and roll bands.
Right.
I would love to talk to Snuff Garrett one day, or any record producer from that time who started pre-Beatles, and ask them, how did you compete? Like, there's this new monster that's eating up show business.
Right.
How did you compete with that? Because I've seen so many interviews with guys like the Isley Brothers. Everything we did, they did. Or Godfrey was telling me when he used to work with Kenny Vance and the Planetones, they would tour with some of those acts. He says, all them dudes, man, they hate the Beatles.
Hey, it's not like they did it to you on purpose,
Right.
And you notice how the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and onward, never had one big group
Right.
or one big person.
Right.
30s, Bing Crosby, 40s, Sinatra, 50s, Elvis, 60s, Beatles.
Right.
Boom, it stopped.
Right.
Stopped.
How long before you were in the studio recording? Matter of days, weeks?
July, August, September, October, November, 4 months.
Okay.
4 months, because everything had to be reviewed by my mom and the lawyers and
Okay.
and everything like that, because I was a minor. I couldn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
Did
your mom get you a good deal?
She got the greatest deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, to where I never, ever stop getting my royalties. ever.
Nice. Like to this day?
To this day.
Sweet. All right.
Three separate royalties.
Go, Mom.
Come. Yeah.
Okay.
Like they never revert back to the company or
To Liberty.
or
Okay.
or anything like that.
That's for everything that you do? All the
Everything.
stuff?
Everything.
Oh, that's fantastic,
Foreign
Gary.
and everything. So she did good. So we
Yeah.
recorded. Well, before recording, I went into Snuffy's office and he said, "I've got this demo." He says, "Now don't listen to what it sounds like. I've got ideas."
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I have this guy that works with me. He's really good with arranging, named Leon Russell.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm listening to the thing, and it was by a guy named Sammy Ambrose. He was doing the demo.
Okay.
And Diamond Ring sounded like, "Who wants to buy this diamond ring?"
Wow.
And I'm you know,
like-
but me.
Right.
Snuffy said, "I think this is a great tune for you."
Okay.
And I wasn't going to argue with him by saying,
Right.
"Well, that sounded pretty stupid," or
Right.
whatever. He says, "This is perfect for you." And I said, "Well, yeah, sure, let's do
Right.
it."
Right.
And isn't it funny that this Diamond Ring was our very first record? It was the biggest one we ever had.
Uh-huh.
Probably sold enough to get me like 12 gold records,
Right.
you know?
Right.
It sells all the time still.
Sure.
I mean, the others do too.
That's the one that pretty much, when I have to explain to people who's on the tour this year, and I have to sing the chorus, and they go, "Oh, right. That's this Diamond Ring does it. Oh, yeah, I know that song."
Yeah, everybody knows that tune.
Now, and meanwhile, it's a song that start with a verse is in C minor,
Right.
and then the chorus modulates to F sharp major. It modulates to the flat 5 major, and somehow gets back to C minor
Right.
with one chord.
Right.
Ding, 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 and then you're in C minor. I
Right.
mean, you know, wow.
That was cool, wasn't it?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty sophisticated for, you know,
I know.
for the number one song in the country in 1964.
Right.
Now you were 1965. Okay,
Yeah.
you're the first guest that I've had on the show to ever have the number one song in the country.
Nice.
You're 18 years old. You're playing Disneyland, and then you're the number one song in the country, Gary Lewis. But what does that feel like?
Well,
Or can you describe what that feels
oh,
like?
I can describe it. We were excited to the point that we thought we were kings of the world already. You know? We were the kings. We were the top. Nobody's better.
Okay.
All that
Right away.
self-absorbed stuff.
Right away.
Right away.
Nice.
So Snuffy Garrett.
How long did that last?
Well, Snuffy Garrett told me, he says, "Hey, you guys better just calm down right now, you know?" He says, "Do you know how many one-hit artists there are in the world?" He says, "We've got to concentrate on number 2.
Wow.
And if we can get number 2, then we might be on our way." He says, "Don't think about your great success. Think about the next one."
Wow. He was a real key figure for you then. He really
Absolutely.
took you on in a mentor kind of position, because he could have easily just had the number one and said that's that, but he was showing you the big picture.
Right, absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
And brought us right back down to earth. And
Okay.
all of a sudden, we weren't feeling like such kings, you know? Like we just got told off.
But that's good though.
It was good. It was
That's
very
really
good.
that was really good for you. Where did you record Diamond Ring?
Western Recorders on Sunset Boulevard.
Okay. What was the flip side of Diamond Ring?
It was a song called Hard to Find, written by a bass player named Leroy Vinegar.
Leroy Vinegar, sure. I know
Right.
who that is, yeah.
I loved the tune because my dad's conductor, who played piano, every time he'd come over to our house,
Yeah.
he'd sit at the piano and he'd play that tune.
Nice.
And I'm hearing it over and over, and I'm going, "Man, I love those changes. That's beautiful. Let's do that."
Okay, and there were lyrics to it.
No.
Oh, you did it
Instrument-
as an instrumental.
Yep.
Wow. See, we had this conversation actually
We
because
did.
my mother's copy of this diamond ring had a song called Tijuana Wedding.
Tijuana Wedding, right.
Okay.
Snuffy Garrett didn't want to waste the strength of this diamond ring on a B-side that really meant nothing. He said, let's write a little dumb thing and put our names on it.
Okay. And
You
then
know?
that's more publishing.
Right, and writers' rights.
See, but even
so-
there, right there, I remember looking at that 45 when I was a kid, hearing the changes, going back and forth between C minor and F sharp major. And then the flip side is an instrumental.
Right.
And I thought, like, this is some pretty sophisticated stuff. This is beyond, just a little bit beyond what everything else was doing.
Absolutely, it was. And
Okay.
and I would have preferred to keep it
Yeah.
on there because it was a great song.
Can you find that? So is it hard to find?
I probably got it.
Okay. You did a full album though, right?
Yes.
With Snuffy that first time.
No. I mean, we cut Diamond Ring first.
Okay.
And some other tunes that he thought could be singles.
Okay.
But it wasn't until after Diamond Ring was climbing the chart real good that we did the first album.
Okay. So all those other tracks would be on that if we could find them?
Depending on what he thought of them.
Okay.
You know, if he
Right.
thought they were just so, they might go on an album.
So you weren't involved in that decision process?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
Okay. And you were but you were satisfied with that?
I was satisfied with everything he did.
Okay.
The only
Because he was getting results.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly right. The only
Okay.
thing is that after Just My Style, the fifth single, Snuffy really wanted to put out Sure Gonna Miss Her.
Yeah.
And I thought it should have been Greengrass because we had those both in the can already.
Right.
And that was the only argument we ever had.
Okay.
And he won.
He put out Sugar to Miss
Sugar
Her.
to Miss Her, that became top 10. And
Okay.
then he put out Greengrass, which was also top 10.
Okay. Okay.
You know?
Green grass round my window, young leaves let the wind blows. Yes, it's springtime, golden sunshine, and we're glad, my little love and I, now that summertime is nigh.
So the band members of the key Playboys.
Yep.
I've got David Walker.
Dave Walker, rhythm guitar,
Okay. Alan Ramsey, the bass player.
bass player,
David Costell
lead guitar,
and John West.
Cordovox.
Okay. My-
It looked just like an accordion.
My dad asked me after the first leg of the tour, does he play the Cordovox on stage? I said, no, he does not.
No.
He plays a Les Paul.
Right, right.
Was that what possessed you to have a Cordovox in your band?
Well, because I was taking drum lessons when I was going to that theater arts college in Pasadena
Yeah.
at this music store just down the street from Jim Keltner.
Okay.
He worked at the store. So I was
Wow.
taking lessons from Jim Keltner, and John West, who played the Cordovox, was a salesman in the store.
I see.
And one day I walked in, and he was in this little music room where you could play the instruments,
Sure.
playing his Cordovox.
Yeah.
You know, he's just going, and I said, wow, that sounds really cool. So I approached him, you know.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I'd love to be in the band. Great.
Okay.
It wasn't till I stopped playing drums in the band that I
Yeah.
hired Jim Keltner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Was there a lot of touring? Like once the hit records started happening?
lots.
Okay.
I mean,
What was some of those early tours like?
Dick Clark Caravan of Stars tours,
Okay.
10 acts on a bus,
Right.
6 to 8 weeks of one-nighters.
Uh-huh.
They were sit-up buses, too.
Right. Charter buses.
Yeah.
Okay.
But everybody was having so much fun, and we were
Sure.
so excited to be on the road doing what we do.
Sure.
And we were all young.
Who were some of the other acts on those early shows?
Sam the Sham, Gene Pitney,
Uh-huh.
Bobby Goldsboro, Brian Hyland.
Okay.
the Yardbirds,
Wow.
the Crystals.
The Yardbirds with Eric Clapton.
Well, Eric Clapton wasn't there. Jeff Beck was.
Oh, so this is late? Okay, the
Well,
second.
it was 65.
Okay.
Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page
Okay.
on guitar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a Dick Clark tour, and they supplied all the equipment. So every night, Jeff Beck would destroy his amp. He would destroy it. Just
Nice.
put the neck right through the
Nice.
grill and kick it off the stage and stuff. Dick Clark fired him.
Wow.
Fired him.
Outta here.
So the
We'll have
Yardbirds
none of that, thank you very much.
became like a power trio,
Right.
and it was great. Nobody missed anything.
Sure.
Jimmy Page was phenomenal.
Okay.
Jimmy Page
66.
one night came to my room, just knocked on the door. Bah, 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 bah,
Yeah.
bah. I open it. It's Jimmy Page standing there. He says, "Hey man, I've got a chick tied to the bed. You want to come see?" I said, "No, that's okay. Thanks. No."
All right.
Little stories.
Those 50 years of stories that you're always talking about.
Yes.
That's one of them.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Oh, man. So how long did the original... Well, first of all, this original lineup of Playboys came
Right.
from where?
Except John West, all from classes at that theater arts college. Yeah.
Okay. So they were guys you knew from school.
Right.
And how long did that basic unit last?
That basic unit lasted until I got drafted in '67.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that was the Playboys.
That
It wasn't like a revolving crew of guys.
no.
Okay.
And plus we played on every basic track we ever did.
Okay. So what part did the Wrecking Crew guys play? They were...
Solos and overdubs.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
if Leon decided he wanted another piano part,
Okay.
he'd bring in somebody else.
Because there's lots of speculation about, like, I wasn't going to take any chances because I needed guys who could play.
No, I'm telling you.
But, okay.
This is the absolute truth. Myself and the Playboys did all basic tracks.
Okay. And you played
I
drums at
played
that
the
point?
drums on everything.
Get out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
And whose decision was that?
Well, that's just the way we set up
Okay.
to do it when we came in to record Diamond Ring,
Okay.
and nobody said anything.
Wow.
So he must have thought we were good enough.
And you were singing from behind the drums in those days?
I was at
Okay.
at concert gigs. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you make the move out to the front on guitar?
I had too much energy.
Okay.
You know, I didn't want to stay seated.
right.
You know, and it was bugging me. It was bothering me.
Well, being the leader, being, the name, it's the Gary Lewis and the Playboys, and you're the
Right.
drummer.
I
I guess it seemed a little like, let me
I
get up
couldn't
front.
see the people
Sure.
behind the cymbals
Right.
and drums, so I knew they couldn't see me.
Sure.
So I hired Jim Keltner
Okay.
and went up front and played guitar because I played guitar already.
Okay, so
that was a year and a half into things.
Okay. And then you got drafted. Okay.
Got my draft notice in late '66. Had to go into the Army, coming off of 7 top 10s in a row.
Wow.
You know, it was like hitting a brick wall at 100 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I went in, I thought to myself, well, Elvis did it. I'll do it, and everybody says, your dad can get you out of this.
Yeah.
You know he can. And at a
Yeah.
very young age, I was surprised that I had the insight to know that if I did that, my life just wouldn't be right.
If you,
If I had him get me out of it
I see.
or asked him to get me out of it.
Oh, so you never even asked him and said, like, Dad, you got to.
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
I
for you.
went.
Okay.
And did what I was supposed to do. And they offered me, they said, why don't you get a band together and tour the different bases all over the country,
Sure.
You could do a great service to us.
Uh-huh.
And I also had the insight to know better than to do that.
Then to.
If you're in the Army and you are getting favoritism, well, you got to live with these guys. What do you think it would have been like?
Right. Right.
So forget it. I said, just give me a job. Let me do it. And they say, okay, well, how about Da Nang? What?
Oh, so you were like, you went and saw some shit.
I did. I saw it, but I wasn't involved in it.
Okay.
You know, and luckily I got out of Vietnam after 3 months because there was a big military buildup in South Korea because North Koreans took one of our ships.
Uh-huh.
And they expected something to be happening.
Oh, wow.
So I went up to South Korea for the next 8 months,
Wow.
which was much better duty,
Okay.
you know.
Now, all this time, you're still thinking about music? You're still thinking, like, when I'm out of here, I'm going to get back into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was still in California at Fort Ord in Monterey, California, for the first year
Okay.
that I was in the service, and I was able to go home on leave and record.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Okay. Is that where the Listen album came from?
Listen, New Directions.
Okay.
The 2 remakes of Sealed with a Kiss and Listen to the Rhythm of the Falling Rain.
Oh, okay.
So on the strength of those 2 singles, I was able to tour for a couple of years when I got out of the service. Then it dried up.
And when you say dried up, what dried up? How do you...
60s music dried up because of Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin. Well, actually, they happened when I was in the service.
Okay.
But I figured, hey, you know, that's fine.
Right.
Everybody can have some, you know.
You didn't feel compelled to,
Just play that kind of
get
music.
with the new sounds.
No.
Huh.
No, because my dad always told me, he says, it's a very bad thing to work out of your style.
Huh.
It's like him not being funny anymore and trying to work.
Right.
You know, so me singing Purple Haze
Right.
or things like that
Would have
just
seemed a little disingenuine that
Correct.
you're like adopting the new trend.
I didn't want to do it. You know, now that I think back on it, I wonder how was I so smart to think of that stuff?
I mean, because I listened to this show, I'm plugging Andrew Sandoval's podcast on my own, but like 2 hours worth of your stuff, I had no idea of all of these songs, of Pretty Things and
Right.
Ice Melts in the Sun,
Yeah, there's a lot of good songs.
Go to Him. I mean, for a stupid 60s music geek like me, and there's a lot of us out there now who love the instrumentation and the arrangements and the
Yeah.
songwriting, the sound of tape and all those instruments.
Right.
I mean,
And the incredible mixing on only 4 tracks.
right. There's a character to the music from that era that's very specific to that era. And there's a lot of us 60s geeks out there. And this is like a really rich catalog of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I love the radio stations that sometimes
Yeah.
play the obscure tunes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I love that. I'm telling you.
And you were cranking them out. I mean, it seemed, Listen, 67.
Yeah.
New Directions is 67.
Yeah.
You've got 3 albums out in 1969. Rhythm of the Rain / Hayride.
Right. Hayride was just a goofy tune.
Okay. And Close Cover Before Playing.
Right.
3 albums you put out in 1969.
Yes.
I mean, were you just in the studio constantly?
Yes.
I mean,
You know what Snuffy did? He didn't
Yeah.
just pick the songs and say, okay, these are going to be on the album.
yeah.
He over-recorded.
Bang, bang, bang.
You know, like we're doing an album, but we're going to cut 30 tunes.
Okay.
You know, he wanted to have choices,
Sure.
about how he could fix this,
Right.
make this really good, or
Okay.
he never trapped himself into 12.
He wasn't thinking of the album as a specific piece.
Right. We were recording for anything that was
Okay.
going to come out, an A-side, B-side.
Okay, so and when you get, let's say, the Rhythm album, it wasn't like that album was planned. It was just like, let's put 12 of them here, and we'll put this picture on it, and we'll call it such and such.
Let's see what comes out the best.
I see.
After recording.
Was he thinking at all in terms of like, will these 12 kind of work as a unit?
Oh yeah, like what would be good with each other.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
sure. He thought about all that stuff.
Okay.
And Leon was so cool. He would he'd be listening to Snuffy talk and Like he wouldn't say anything. Like Snuff would say, "Leon, do you think that's a good idea?" You know, Leon would just kind of have his head down and he'd shake his head no. Snuffy listened to him just like that.
Right. Trusted
You
his
know?
instincts there.
But it was a great little triad. Snuffy, Leon, me.
Right. And you're still using the Playboys from before? Or now is it new
Oh,
people?
no, it's all new.
Okay.
Oh, there's been tons of Playboys over the years.
Okay.
You know, but as long as I'm there, it's okay.
Got it.
You know.
Okay.
I've also realized that when you go out on the road, at my age,
Right.
is that I've had to get like 4 guys from each position
Right.
that I can call.
Yeah, Turtles are the same thing. They have an East Coast band and a West Coast band.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the logical
It
thing
is.
to do.
It is logical because some of the musicians get offers into a type of music they might like better. Mm-hmm. You know,
Or it's a job that pays better, or
Sure,
it's easier on them
sure.
for their situation.
Right.
From a business perspective, I think it makes a little bit more sense.
oh yeah,
You know, it's lovely, this idea of the rock band of the 4 guys in the garage, and it's
Right.
like all for one, one for all.
right.
You know, but that's not always realistic.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely right. But when you're younger, you're tighter. As far as stick together,
Right.
we got to stick together, you know?
Sure.
This is it. We're young. Well, we didn't say that, but
But
it
well, you've also got less obligations.
well, sure.
At that
Absolutely.
point,
I
you-
was still living home,
Wow.
you know, and
Okay.
when my dad finally found out that I had a band, he says, "Hey, you know, that's great."
How did he finally find out that you had a band?
Well, I told him when Diamond Ring was number 20 on the chart, still
So
going
you're
up.
so you're working at Disneyland. You're in the studio with Snuff Garrett, but your father has no idea.
Has no idea.
How is that possible?
Because my mom bought us all our equipment,
Okay.
bought the recording time, did everything like that.
Right.
And she says, if this fails, I have to come up with an excuse as to where this money went.
I see.
So don't tell him yet.
Wow.
So we rehearsed it at our house when he was out of town.
That's a pretty heavy secret to keep from your father, that you've got a band and you're recording with Snuff Garrett.
It worked.
And you're in, okay.
It worked because he didn't read anything about music.
I see.
Just variety,
He was that focused on what
focused
he
on
was doing.
his thing.
Okay.
yes. You
But
know.
I mean, he knew what else you were up to.
Well, he knew everything else, sure.
Okay. Okay.
Which was nothing.
I see.
I mean, except kid stuff, you know.
I see.
But it was when I finally told him, I brought the first gold record that Liberty gave me
I see.
of Diamond Ring, and I brought it onto the Paramount lot, gave it to him.
Wow.
He shut down production and everything.
Nice.
He said, "My son wants to talk to me."
Nice.
That's a cool thing because if I would call him on the phone and need to talk to, he would shut everything down.
really.
Come and talk to me.
That's so cool. That's so cool to hear.
Yeah.
Because we hear so many stories
Well,
about
yeah.
the son of, the daughter of.
Right,
Where
right.
it's not that kind of attention.
There were good things.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, that's
Okay. And we shall just leave it at that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Everybody loves a clown, so why don't you? Everybody laughs at the things that I say and do. They all laugh when they see me coming. You don't laugh, you just come running. Everybody loves a clown, so why can't you? A clown is feelings too.
Are you in touch with Snuff Garrett today?
no, not really.
Yeah.
You know, because I've changed to where, I mean, money isn't everything to me anymore.
Uh-huh.
You know, whereas money is everything to him.
I see.
Absolutely everything. And he lives his life that way.
I see.
Money is the most important thing
Okay.
there is. Yeah.
So he was a businessman.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it worked for him every time.
Sure.
You know, everything he touched kind of turned to gold.
Right.
But I just don't care to think that way. I don't like to think that way.
Huh.
You
Okay.
know? Because I'm a believer.
I see.
I am. and you know, that's all I really need to be happy, or I can handle any situation.
A believer
Meaning Jesus.
Oh, okay. That's something we should discuss if you're comfortable with it.
I'm very comfortable with
Okay,
it.
so when did that happen for you?
That happened after I got sober in 2003.
Wow, this is recently. Wow.
10 years ago.
So then let's get to this. You come out of Vietnam, you continue to record,
Right.
and then it just kind of fizzles out, it just dries
That's
up.
right. It fizzled out.
Okay.
So, therefore, what I did is I said, well, I'm going to get out of this whole thing.
Huh.
I'm out of the business. That's it. They don't want me? Fine.
Really?
You know, yeah.
What did that feel like? I mean, was that...
Well, because everything was done for me my whole life. You
I
know,
see.
I was raised in a rich family where people did for all of us.
I see.
And when I had to do for myself with no help out there,
Yeah.
after my 60s tunes were over, I had no idea how to do it.
Wow. And you're how old at this point? Let's say 1946.
25.
Wow. Okay.
25.
Okay.
So, therefore, I found out that having a drink or two kind of made me feel pretty good.
And up till this point, you had not...
No.
Wow. You didn't get caught up in the whole...
Well, I smoked a little weed over in Vietnam.
Okay. But it didn't become part of your daily...
No.
Okay.
And finally, the whole drinking thing escalated over the decades. You know, I mean,
Over the decades, plural.
decades. Oh yeah, I'll tell you that in a second.
Wow.
I bought a music store in the Valley in California,
Okay.
and I sold drums and guitars and accessories and everything, and then I did that for 12 years till 1984.
Okay.
And you know, I was drinking and everything, and by that time I was, you know, into doing various drugs too.
Oh, wow.
But the reason for all that is that I didn't know what to do to help myself.
Wow.
So I had to kill this pain. It was killing me.
What was that from, do you think?
The pain of being huge, being raised rich, not having any idea how to live my life without all those extra people to do my things.
Wow.
I had no idea how to live.
So even with an effective mentor like Snuff Garrett, with your mom doing a good deal for you, with your dad pretty much keeping you on the straight and narrow in terms of show business, you still fell victim to, like, oh my God, what do I do now?
Exactly right.
Still defining yourself externally.
Nobody was helping me.
Wow.
I mean, I worked with so many different people, and they just all split,
Wow.
gone. You know,
Yeah.
because I wasn't generating income for any of them anymore.
Wow.
You know, so the pain of
And this went on for like,
till 2003.
holy crap.
Yeah. 70 to 2003.
Jesus.
That's right.
Till the 80s.
Till the 80s?
What do you mean till the 80s?
Started working in the 80s.
Oh, well, I was still doing everything.
Oh, yeah.
In 1984, an agent called me from Indiana. He says, "Hey, man, 60s are coming back." I said, "Who is this?"
Okay.
He says, "Man, I know I can book you 60 to 100 dates a year." And I thought to myself, well, hey, if he can do it,
Okay.
great. So I told him, yeah, book him, I'll work it. Not
me-
expecting anything.
Okay.
And
you're running the music store at this point,
yeah. So he did.
right?
He was booking
And
me again.
who was the band? You put Playboys together, or
No, I used other people's bands. We did package shows.
Okay, so this was an agent putting 60s packages together.
Right.
I see.
Right.
And who was some of the other acts that he had? This was not the Happy Together tour.
No.
Okay.
Freddie Cannon, Bobby V,
Okay.
the Box Tops, people like that. And I started working, started making money again. And now it wasn't so bad to drink and do drugs.
Okay, so you were. So now you're drinking and doing drugs, but you're doing it on the road with a band.
With money, and I'm making money.
And you're
yeah.
making money, and you're sort of independent, right?
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Was that the key for you? Was what was missing? Was the fact that you felt like, I've had people doing things for me my whole life, and now I have to be independent, feel like a man? I mean, did you feel like finally you were doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. I was
But you were-
generating my own income again.
Nice.
So I started working again, and then in '85 I did the second Happy Together tour,
Okay.
and that got my name out there as far as press and good write-ups and
Right.
this and that. So, man, I started feeling like people are applauding me and everything again.
Right.
Oh, this was great. So that catapulted me into better money,
Okay.
better venues and stuff like that.
And creating another identity for yourself now.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
this now. You have this
And I-
body of work that you can sort of point at and be like, "This
Exactly.
is me."
I didn't have
Okay.
to come up with anything new
Uh-huh.
because people were getting old enough to where they wanted to hear the music they grew up with.
Right. It wasn't out of fashion anymore.
It
Now
wasn't.
it just is what it is.
That's right.
So then take me through 80s, 90s. You're touring.
Yeah, I always had a band. I always played. I had a band from 1988 to 2004.
Okay.
Longest set of Playboys.
Uh-huh.
We were working all the time,
Okay.
just all the time.
Okay.
And I met my wife Donna in '97, and I was still drinking and drugging and everything.
Was it out of control or was it just
It was
partying?
getting there rapidly.
what was the tipping point that separated like, yeah, Gary, he likes to party, and like, oh my God, I got to do something about this? Like,
Donna. Meeting Donna was the best thing in the world. I totally believe God put her in my path.
Wow.
I totally believe it because when we started dating,
How'd you guys meet?
well, we met. I was doing a show at the Eastman Theater in Rochester, New York,
Okay.
and she was in the audience. So her and her girlfriend crashed the radio party
All right.
afterwards, and I saw her, and it was like a movie. How I saw her face, and everything else was like out of focus.
Wow.
And she was the only clear thing in the room.
Nice.
Ooh. So as we started dating, I was still drinking and everything. And I woke up one morning and said, I don't even remember what we did last night. And I said, I really like this girl. I want to remember what we do. Wow. So the seed was planted.
Huh.
I planted that seed, and she was constantly planting little seeds,
Okay.
Like, I love you so much, but you're drinking and stuff. It could hurt us. And I'd go, yeah, okay, fine,
Right.
yeah, whatever.
Right. That's why, honey, I think you're drinking too much. Ah, shut up.
Shut up. But anyway, so she finally got to me. She got to me.
Okay.
And it made sense.
Wow.
It made sense. So I went in 2003, I went into detox, a month of rehab, and it was real hard.
Right.
Real
What was
hard.
the hardest thing about it?
Staying sober.
Just not having another drink.
Yes.
Okay.
And see, in AA, they tell you, we only ask two things of you. Don't drink and change your whole life.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
So that part about changing your whole life is ongoing.
Right.
It's constant work.
It's
But
like every day. It's
every
not
day
like,
you got to
like,
think. You got to think differently. You
than
know
what you're accustomed to.
right, and you got to
Okay.
come to believe that there is a power greater than you that's running the show.
Right.
You know, see, I thought I could run the show, and look what happened. I'm in
Right.
detox and rehab and everything.
Right.
So the first 5 years of my sobriety was a constant struggle, just constantly.
What was the
struggling.
struggle?
The struggle was trying to think right,
Huh.
trying to learn how to live sober again. That's very hard.
Right.
Like I didn't even know how to use an ATM card.
Wow.
You know, I mean, it was all just too confusing. And in the meetings you go to, they say, well, you know, just do what we say and keep coming back. And I always thought that when they would say to me, keep coming back, that meant you don't know shit, but you will.
Right.
you know.
Right.
And that's exactly what they're saying.
Right. You haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did it. And then all of a sudden, in my 6th year of sobriety, I got it. It just happened.
So what did you get? What was the thing that clicked for you?
All of a sudden, I didn't have to think about not drinking anymore. It was just there.
It was enough. It had become enough of a pattern at that point that you
Right.
were accustomed to.
And I don't think about it ever anymore.
Nice.
Ever.
Nice.
You know, it's not like I have to tell myself, okay, you're going to a place where there's beer in the little buckets there. Watch
sure,
out.
Make sure you don't have one.
I don't have to tell myself that anymore at all.
Okay. Because it's ingrained enough that you just know
It is. Well,
what the result's going to be.
the rewards are so great.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah.
tremendous rewards for living right.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I think that's true with any behavior that you're trying to change, is finding the alternative.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
and
don't be so angry all the time. Don't snap at things. Okay, fine, but how am I supposed to react? Don't tell me what I'm not supposed to do. What's the alternative then?
Yeah, well,
You
see,
know?
when I got to that point, I just let God handle it.
Huh?
You know, I don't worry anymore about anything.
Nice.
You know, if there's something that comes up that I would normally worry about, I'll say to myself, well, I really would have been in a panic about this.
Right.
You know, but I'm saying, you take it.
Yeah.
I trust you. You know,
know?
if you're struggling and you're going through money problems and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I still won't worry about it because I know I'm going to be taken care of somehow.
Right.
And I prefer to think of it as God doing it for me.
Okay.
Like, just wait, you know, good things come to those who wait.
Right.
So I'm happy with that situation for me.
Nice. And when did JC enter the picture?
Well, actually, all my life, but I never paid attention to it. I
Okay.
mean, my mom took us all to church
Okay.
from as early as I can remember
Okay.
up to about 18 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so I heard a lot, I learned a lot, but I didn't know it,
Okay.
you know. And then God was on the back burner
Right.
for decades, you know. And then 2006 is when, I mean, people were just put in my path. Pastors,
Huh.
godly people, you know, and stuff. And he had to place them there, you know. I mean,
Interesting.
I enjoy Christian people. That's one thing that we have in common, you
Right.
know. So I feel like, you know, we're friends already.
Nice.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to
I
me,
don't thump the Bible though.
that's what I was just gonna say.
No, I don't.
Because
I don't.
I've seen other people who get Jesus, and
Yeah.
it's all you freaking hear about.
Right. No.
And-
You still have to remember that people all don't feel that way.
Right.
You know, so I will never push what I believe on anybody
Right.
unless they ask me. If
Nice.
somebody says, well, how did you find God? Well, then I'll tell them,
Sure.
you know.
So you just found you during the sobriety process.
It came.
You kept finding yourself in these situations.
It was
where you were
wonderful.
meeting these people. Okay.
Yes,
Nice.
very wonderful.
Every time I see her, she don't even look my way. Maybe she will notice me, but then what would I say? I would say what's on my mind, but the words are hard to find. But I'm gonna try to tell her anyway.
Don't you know that he's
Just my style, drives me wild. Just my style, drives me wild. Fine, so fine.
What inspires you now, musically or otherwise?
Musically, what I like to do is I will never drift far from rock and roll.
Okay.
Like, my songs of the 60s were good songs and very acceptable back then, but my mind is more rock and roll now.
Okay.
I mean, let me give you an example. Travis Tritt and Marty Stewart.
Okay.
You know, it's country, but it's straight ahead rock.
Right. Okay. Okay.
You know, and I love funk, but I can never do it. I can't do it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I love Earth, Wind, and Fire type stuff.
Okay.
The Commodores,
Nice.
that kind of stuff. Bass is a killer to me.
Okay.
Everything's on full bass.
Okay. Good.
I just love
Good.
it so
Good.
much.
Good.
And you play good bass.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, it's
when
my
you
pleasure.
when you could be sitting doing nothing, when you don't have to be anywhere till later.
I probably would have been right here, except not talking.
Radio 418.
G-Man. Love that guy. One of my favorite humans. I usually do maybe 1 or 2 shows a year with him. With Gary Lewis and the Playboys, I'll get the call if there's a show in my area. And the Gary Lewis and the Playboys ecosystem is a wonderful place to be. I love those guys and his band and Donna. GaryLewisandThePlayboys.com to follow what he's up to. So check it out. The website for the podcast is radio418.com. You can stream episodes from there. You can subscribe there via Podbean. You can also subscribe on iTunes. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/John Montagna Music. Follow me on Twitter at John Mon, JONMON. The Facebook page is facebook.com/radio418. Instagram, John Montagna. But anything and everything you want to know about me and what I'm doing with my music is at my website, johnmontagna.com. And you can download my music directly from my website, johnmontagna.com, including Senza, the EP that is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. My God. Senza's on there. Enjoy Your Dessert's on there. Pleasant Tension is on there. Late to the Party, the latest album, which is free, is up there. All the other ones you got to pay for. But it's a worthy investment. Listen to music, listen to music, listen to music. Make some time in your day where that's all you do. Thank you for listening to Radio 418. I will see you on the next one. Be well.